Baruch Hashem and Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'd like to start by reading a scripture from Daniel the prophet. But to you, O Daniel, chapter 12, verse 4, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Now, I see that as a direct reference to what would become the internet. And maybe you would agree. But there's something else that's been developed. There's a company that in maybe a decade, they're going to fly people in quasi-space. It's like a plane, but it's a rocket too. And it holds about 30 passengers. It'll take you an hour to go from New York City to London. It'll take you an hour. And so you basically could go around the world in maybe 2 or 3 hours in the air. Isn't that amazing? And so Daniel was foreseeing this. Daniel's some prophet, and he was foreseeing this. And our Jewish people, sadly, and the Goyim believers in Yeshua don't really read the book of Daniel. They don't pay attention to it because you have to listen to the prophets. And he was a great, great prophet. And knowledge has increased, you know, 1,000,000-fold, as you know, today. And there's something that I saw also. There's going to be sun flares coming forth. The sun is going to be bursting out, and there's going to be signs in the heavens before the return of Yeshua. I would just want to go from Daniel to Yeshua because Daniel prophesied about Yeshua extensively in the book. And we have a situation now where there are earthquakes, as Yeshua taught. In many diverse places, there are going to be earthquakes. There was an earthquake in New Jersey the other day. People felt it. I felt an earthquake that happened in upstate New York one year. The earthquakes are a sign of the end. The seismic activity is increasing. If you look at any pictures, you can just go onto the internet and you can see pictures of the tsunami over there on Christmas Day in Indonesia. You can see all kinds of things. You can actually see the big waves coming up and the earthquake happening. Tsunami is an earthquake and a great tidal wave all at the same time. And so if you want to pretend it's not there, go right ahead. But what is precious to you? What would you go back for? What would you hold on to if you were in some cataclysm? We're not talking about terrorists now. We're talking about the earth and the crust and plates of the earth. You know, Jesus, Yeshua, the Messiah, was the great physician and the great seismologist, okay? He has foretold that the earthquakes would come in many places, that there would be famines. Over in the Dominican Republic, I have a friend who works there extensively, and she says that the cattle are not thriving and going to die because there's been no rainfall in the Dominican Republic. Imagine a Caribbean nation where there's no rain falling. And so people are not paying attention. They're looking at foolishness. Think of all the foolishness in your life right now. Isn't there a little bit? Aren't you holding on to some idols? Aren't you trying to bury the cash under the mattress? It's not going to work because the mattress could be swept off to sea. People are revisiting Hurricane Katrina this year. It's the 10th year of Hurricane Katrina from 2005 to 2015. And they're going back and they're looking at what happened there. It was a dreadful, dreadful, the whole area was almost taken out to the ocean. Gulf of Mexico and then the ocean. So please, when Yeshua speaks of famines, earthquakes, he says the end is not yet, but it's coming, and it's coming very soon. And when the prophet Daniel speaks of things happening, and there will be a time of trouble, it says in chapter 12. If you're lazy and you don't want to read all of Daniel, well, you know what? Just Mr. Lazy and Miss Lazy, Ms. Lazy, you go right ahead and read the last chapter, chapter 12. And at that time shall Michael stand up, Michael, the great prince which stands over the children of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time your people shall be delivered. Every one of them shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. That means when you're dead, you're not dead. That means you go on in some form, righteousness or hell. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they shall turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. When my father died, may the peace of God be upon him. May he rest in peace. When he died in 2008, I had ordered the previous year for Father's Day this company that names a star after your loved one. You can name a star after your loved one. And so I named an Ernest Morel star, which is way up there. And it was named for him. I think it was about $60. And I was so thrilled because as my father died, he became a real believer in Yeshua. And I've given his story many times, and I know that his story has influenced people to turn to the Lord. And so his star is shining brightly, just as was prophesied, up there in the firmament. It has his name on it. And so, please, will you shine as brightly as the stars of the firmament, because you have turned many from unrighteousness to righteousness? Now, today is the day of salvation.